The alien instructor asked why she brought an animal. She replied, "To prove you're not Apex anything." The station floated above a glowing blue planet, its lights blinking like stars trapped in metal. Ships of every shape and color moved around it. Some were sleek and smooth, built for speed, while others were jagged and armored, looking ready for battle. Leela's heart beat fast. This place was not Earth. It was alien, strange, and full of unknown dangers. Clutched tightly in her hands was a small cage. Inside was a creature that looked like a mix of a fox and a raccoon, with bright amber eyes and fur that shimmered like bronze in the artificial lights. The creature peeked out curiously, tilting its head as if it already understood that this place would be full of danger. Leela whispered to it softly, "Don't worry, just stay close to me. We'll show them what we can do." The shuttle bay doors opened, and a loud hiss echoed as the cabin pressure adjusted. Leela took a deep breath and stepped forward. Immediately, dozens of aliens turned to look at her. They were taller than any humans she had ever seen, with scales, feathers, or smooth skin in colors she had never imagined. Some had 3 eyes, others had 4 arms, and a few even had wings folded neatly against their backs. Their eyes stared curiously, some with amusement, others with disdain. "New human cadet," someone muttered in a voice like scraping metal. Leela ignored it and walked toward the main hall. She had been trained for this. She had learned to keep her nerves steady, to move confidently, and to carry herself with pride even when surrounded by beings far stronger than her. But nothing could prepare her for the sheer scale of the academy. The hall was enormous. Towers of glass and metal reached toward the ceiling, where glowing panels displayed alien symbols she couldn't understand. Holograms floated in the air, showing combat drills, star maps, and alien languages. The air smelled faintly of ozone and oil. Every sound echoed, from the clatter of boots on metal floors to the hum of energy shields in the distance. At the center of the hall stood Tharok, the instructor she had been warned about. He was massive, with jagged green scales that glinted under the lights. 4 powerful arms ended in sharp claws, and his eyes, like molten gold, seemed to look right through her. His head had small horns, and his jawline was wide and intimidating. Every cadet she had spoken to whispered that Tharok was one of the toughest instructors in the academy, a being who respected no one and crushed weakness without mercy. Leela stopped a few steps away from him and held the cage firmly. She could feel her small companion inside trembling slightly. That was fine. Both of them had learned to be brave together. She opened her mouth, ready to speak, but a sudden snort from Tharok stopped her. "Why did you bring that thing?" Tharok's voice was low, rough, and filled with disbelief. His eyes were fixed on the cage as if the creature inside was a dangerous weapon. Other cadets leaned forward, some whispering, some laughing quietly. Leela could feel their curiosity and amusement. "To prove you're not Apex anything," she said calmly. Her voice was steady even though her heart raced. The words felt heavy in the hall, and for a moment every alien went quiet. Some blinked, others raised a brow, and a few actually laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh, it was a laugh of disbelief. Tharok stepped closer. His claws clicked on the metal floor as he leaned forward, his massive frame bending slightly. "You dare bring a living weapon into my class? You dare insult me?" His eyes burned with anger, yet Leela didn't flinch. "Yes," she said simply, "I dare." The hall erupted with murmurs and whispers. Some cadets shook their heads, others covered their mouths to hide laughter. Leela's companion peeked out of the cage, its small nose twitching and its tail flicking in agitation. Leela patted the cage gently. "It's okay, just watch," she said. Tharok's 4 arms flexed and his claws dug into the floor. "Do you even know the rules of this academy, human?" he asked, his voice a growl. Leela could hear the tension in it. He had never been challenged like this before, especially by a human. "I know enough," she said. "Rules don't win wars, thinking and action do." The alien snorted again, louder this time, and turned to face the other cadets. "Observe. This human brings a creature to training. Does she expect to survive? Does she expect to show that a predator is anything but superior?" He turned back to Leela, his eyes narrowing. "I will see if your human arrogance is worth anything." The hall doors opened, and assistants rolled in training equipment, energy weapons, combat drones, and holographic targets. The cadets followed Tharok to the training floor, where simulations could be projected in real time. Leela followed, her cage secure, her heart steady. She knew this was her moment. The first test was simple but brutal. The cadets had to face mechanical warriors in hand-to-hand combat simulations. Most aliens approached with brute force, smashing through holographic enemies without strategy. Leela opened the cage slightly, letting her small companion out. Immediately, it darted between the holographic soldiers, causing the simulations to glitch momentarily. Leela used the distraction to her advantage, flipping, dodging, and striking with precision. Tharok's eyes widened slightly, but his expression did not soften. "Interesting," he muttered under his breath, his tone a mixture of anger and curiosity. The other cadets began to realize that Leela's small companion wasn't just a distraction. It was clever, fast, and perfectly synchronized with her movements. After several rounds, the aliens were frustrated. Leela's strategy was not brute strength, it was cunning, teamwork, and unpredictability. Every time they thought they had her cornered, she and her companion found a way out. Some cadets whispered, "That human." "She's more than she looks." Others grumbled, calling it luck or a fluke. By the end of the session, Tharok called the cadets together. His eyes scanned the room, finally resting on Leela. "Human," he said slowly, "you are bold. I cannot deny it. You are different." But different does not always mean strong. Leela stepped forward, her companion perched lightly on her shoulder. She held her head high. "Strength is not just muscle," she said. "It's planning, observation, and action. Apex predators think they are the strongest. I am here to show that survival is about more than just power." Tharok studied her in silence. For a moment, the hall seemed to hold its breath. Even the other cadets stopped whispering. The human before him was small, fragile by appearance, yet fearless and precise in her actions. She had broken the first rule of his expectations. Humans were weak. The alien finally turned away, his tail flicking behind him. "We will see how far your confidence carries you," he said. "This is only the beginning." Leela nodded, not intimidated. She knew this was her first day, but it was also her first victory in a war of perception. Humans were underestimated everywhere in the galaxy. That would always be their advantage, and she was determined to use it. As the cadets returned to their quarters, Leela found a quiet corner and let her companion climb onto her lap. It nuzzled her hand, and she stroked its soft fur. "Today was good," she whispered. "We made them think. That's the first step." The small creature chirped in agreement, its tiny claws kneading her sleeve. Leela smiled. She knew the days ahead would be harder, filled with challenges she could not yet imagine. But if she and her companion stayed smart, brave, and united, they could turn the impossible into the possible. And that was exactly what Leela intended to do. Humans were not apex predators. Maybe they never had been. But they had heart, brains, and courage, the three things no alien could ever fully anticipate. As she looked out the hall's panoramic windows, watching alien ships glide past in the station's docking bays, she whispered quietly, "Let them watch. Let them see." "We're not what they expect." Her companion chirped again, and Leela laughed softly. Together, they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to prove that humans were far more dangerous and far more remarkable than any alien could guess. The next morning, Leela Carter woke before dawn. The station was quiet except for the hum of machinery and the distant clatter of alien boots. She stretched and checked her small companion, who was curled up in its little blanket. The creature opened one eye and chirped softly, as if asking, "Are you ready for today?" Leela smiled and nodded. Always ready. She fed it a small portion of nutrient paste and packed her gear. Today would be her first real combat training session with the other cadets. She knew that no one would go easy on her. Aliens were stronger, faster, and more experienced in battle. But she also knew that her advantage was not brute strength. It was her mind, her speed, and her bond with the little creature she carried everywhere. When she arrived at the training hall, it was already filled with cadets. Some were practicing drills with holographic weapons, while others sparred with each other. The hall smelled faintly of ozone, oil, and sweat. It was intimidating, but Leela kept her head high. Tharok stood at the far end of the room, his massive frame casting a long shadow across the floor. His forearms were crossed over his chest, and his eyes glowed with a sharp golden light. He looked at the cadets with an expression that seemed both bored and calculating. "Today," he said, his voice echoing across the hall, "you will face each other in combat drills. You will learn strategy, observation, and reflex. Do not expect mercy. The weak will fall. The clever may survive. Human, you will face the strongest cadets first." Leela felt the eyes of dozens of alien cadets on her. Some sneered, Others whispered, clearly amused by the idea that a human could compete with their kind. She ignored them and opened the small cage, letting her companion slip out quietly. It moved like a shadow across the floor, ears twitching, eyes alert. The first opponent was a tall alien named Vrek with purple scales and 6 sharp fingers on each hand. He grinned when he saw Leela. "This human thinks she can fight?" he hissed. "I will crush her before she moves an inch." Leela nodded politely. "Good luck," she said. Then she stepped back, letting the creature scurry ahead. The moment the drill started, Vrek lunged at her with incredible speed. Leela dodged to the side, her movements precise and controlled. She had trained for this, practicing every day on Earth, using speed and timing instead of raw strength. Her companion darted around Vrek's legs, distracting him and causing him to stumble slightly. Leela seized the moment. She moved in a circle, forcing Vrek to shift his weight constantly. Every time he attacked, the small creature intercepted just enough to make him lose balance. The other cadets watched in shock as a human managed to avoid every strike. Vrek roared in frustration. "This is impossible," he yelled. "She is just a human." "Humans survive by thinking," Leela said calmly, stepping back as Vrek swung at her again. She allowed him to overextend, then tripped him with a small energy rod she carried. He crashed to the floor with a loud thud. The hall went silent for a moment, the only sound the heavy breathing of the cadets. Tharok's eyes narrowed. "Interesting," he muttered. "She relies on her companion. Clever, very clever." The next opponent was Rika, a sleek, silver-skinned alien with wings folded against her back. She darted forward faster than Leela expected. The human dodged, rolled, and kept her distance, letting Rika tire herself out. Her small companion leapt onto Rika's back for a moment, causing her to lose balance and crash into a holographic wall. Other cadets whispered among themselves. "She's using the creature as a weapon," one said. "This is insane." "Clever, not insane," Leela said to herself, focusing on her next move. She knew she could not defeat all the aliens with strength. She had to use strategy, timing, and unpredictability. The drills continued for hours. Leela faced one opponent after another, each stronger and faster than the last. She never fought recklessly. Every move was calculated, every dodge and strike planned carefully. Her companion ran alongside her, leaping, distracting, and confusing the opponents at the perfect moments. By midday, Leela's arms were tired, her legs sore, and her breathing heavy. Yet she felt more alive than ever. She had faced aliens who had been trained for decades and had survived. More than that, she had done it with intelligence and skill, not brute strength. Tharok watched quietly from the sidelines. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes followed every move Leela made. For the first time, he seemed to respect her determination. "Humans," he muttered, "they are unpredictable. They survive where the strongest may fail." During a break, Leela sat on a bench, her companion resting on her lap. Other cadets avoided her gaze, clearly unsure how to respond. Some even glanced at Tharok, hoping for a comment. The alien remained silent, observing. "You think she is lucky?" one cadet whispered to another. "She is just a human." Leela overheard but didn't respond. Luck had nothing to do with it. She had trained her mind and her body, and she had a partner who understood her completely. That was enough. After the break, Tharok called the cadets together again. "Now," he said, "you will face each other in teams. Strategy is required. Teamwork will decide the winner. Human, you will be with the weakest cadets against the strongest." Leela felt a flicker of challenge in her chest. She knew the odds were against her, but that only made the victory sweeter if she could succeed. She opened the cage, and her companion jumped onto her shoulder, ready as always. The simulation began. Energy shields rose from the floor, and holographic enemies appeared in waves. Leela quickly directed her small team, positioning them to cover each other. Her companion darted forward, creating openings and confusing the enemy. The stronger aliens attacked aggressively, expecting an easy win. But Leela anticipated their moves, predicting their patterns and exploiting their mistakes. One cadet tried to strike her directly, only to be tripped by a hidden wire she had set. Another fired a laser, but her companion blocked it by leaping into the beam, causing a momentary short circuit. The battle raged on, loud and chaotic. Holographic projections flickered, alarms blared, and the cadets shouted commands. Yet Leela remained calm, her mind focused. She moved like water, flowing around obstacles, using her team and her companion as extensions of herself. By the end of the drill, her team had won. The other cadets stared in disbelief. "How did a human do that?" one muttered. Tharok stepped forward, his massive claws tapping the floor. "Human," he said, his voice deep and measured. "You have survived more than anyone expected. You have used intelligence, strategy, and cooperation. You have proven that survival is not only about strength." Leela nodded, her chest rising with pride. "Strength alone does not win battles," she said. "Thinking, adapting, and using every resource is what matters." Tharok's eyes seemed to glow brighter. For the first time, he smiled slightly, a rare gesture for a being who rarely showed emotion. "Perhaps humans are not as weak as we believed," he said. The other cadets began to murmur among themselves, some nodding, some whispering in awe. Leela had changed the way they saw humans. No longer were humans the weak, fragile species they had assumed. This small, clever human had faced the strongest and survived. After the drills, Leela walked to a quiet corner of the hall. She fed her companion and patted its head gently. "We did well," she said softly, "but this is only the start. They will come at us harder next time." The small creature chirped and nuzzled her hand. Leela smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. Together they had survived the impossible. Together they could face anything. As she looked out the hall's wide windows at the glowing planet below, Leela whispered quietly, "We're just getting started. Let them underestimate us. That is our advantage." Her companion chirped again, hopping onto her shoulder, ready for the next challenge. Leela knew the days ahead would be filled with stronger opponents, tougher tests, and greater risks. But she was ready. She had brains, courage, and an ally who was small but fierce. And in the world of the Orion Expanse, that was more than enough to start rewriting what it meant to be human. The day after the team drills, Leela Carter felt a mix of excitement and nerves. Today would be different. Today was the first real mission simulation at the Orion Expanse Military Academy, a test designed to push cadets to their limits. This simulation was not just about skill or strategy. It was about survival, quick thinking, and adaptation under pressure. Leela carried her small companion carefully in its cage as she walked through the long corridors of the station. The corridors were metallic and narrow, with pipes and cables running along the walls. Alien cadets passed by, some glancing at her with curiosity, others with barely concealed disdain. Leela ignored them. She had learned long ago that respect was earned, not demanded. Her companion chirped softly, as if sensing her nervous energy. Leela smiled. "We'll show them," she whispered. "They won't expect what we can do." The simulation room was enormous, a large dome with holographic projectors and moving platforms. It could simulate planets, cities, battlefields, and even extreme environments like lava plains or frozen wastelands. Tharok stood at the far end, his arms crossed, watching the cadets gather. His golden eyes gleamed with curiosity, as if he were eager to see how far Leela could go. "Today's simulation is simple in concept but deadly in practice," Tharok said, his voice echoing across the hall. "You will enter the arena, a hostile world filled with threats. Your task is to reach the central tower and retrieve the data core. Fail and you fail the mission. Human, you will lead your small squad. You have been chosen because you are unpredictable. Do not disappoint me." Leela swallowed her nerves. This was the moment where the lessons of the past 2 days would be tested. She opened the cage and let her small companion out. It immediately ran to her side, its bright eyes scanning the room, alert and ready. Leela knelt for a moment to adjust its position. "Ready?" she asked. It chirped and rubbed against her hand. "Good, let's go." The arena doors opened with a loud hiss. A simulated world appeared in front of them, jagged rocks, dark clouds, and strange glowing plants. The air smelled faintly of sulfur, and the ground vibrated with simulated tremors. Alien cadets from other teams had already entered, some running ahead with confidence, others moving cautiously. Leela's squad consisted of 3 other humans and her small companion. They were nervous, but they trusted her. "Follow my lead," Leela said quietly, moving forward with careful steps. The small creature ran ahead, its movements swift and precise, scouting the terrain and alerting Leela to potential dangers. The first obstacle appeared quickly, a group of mechanical guardians, 3 meters tall, moving with calculated precision. The cadets froze for a moment, unsure how to handle the machines. Leela whispered instructions. "Don't rush, observe, watch their pattern." The guardians moved in a simple loop, swinging their arms in a wide arc and scanning the ground for movement. Leela's companion darted forward, jumping between the machine's legs, causing them to stumble and glitch for a moment. Using that opening, Leela led her squad through a narrow path between the rocks. Every step was calculated, every action timed perfectly. One human cadet, Alex, whispered, "This is insane. How did you think of this?" Leela smiled faintly. "Think fast, move faster." We survived together. The next challenge was a deep chasm with a moving bridge. Alien cadets tried to cross recklessly, but many fell into the simulated abyss. Leela observed first. "Timing is key," she said. "Wait for the bridge to align, then move as a unit." Her small companion ran ahead, leaping across first, testing the stability. When it landed safely, Leela led the others across, one by one, never losing focus. As they moved deeper into the arena, the simulation grew more dangerous. Holographic predators appeared, with sharp claws and glowing eyes. They lunged at anyone who moved recklessly. Most cadets panicked, running in random directions and tripping over obstacles. Leela stayed calm. She and her companion lured the predators away, creating openings for her squad. They moved like a single organism, coordinated and alert. Hours seemed to pass in what felt like minutes. The squad faced collapsing floors, sudden energy blasts, and traps designed to test reflexes and teamwork. Leela's strategies relied on her companion's small size and speed, allowing them to scout and trigger traps safely. Every time a danger appeared, she used observation and cunning, never strength. At one point, the squad reached a narrow corridor filled with moving laser beams. Alien cadets tried to dash through recklessly and failed. Leela studied the pattern and whispered, "Wait for the pause." "Then go." Her squad followed, moving in perfect synchronization, avoiding the lasers entirely. Her companion ran ahead, leaping over beams and scouting for safe zones. By mid-afternoon, they were close to the central tower. But the final challenge awaited. A massive alien cadet team trained in combat simulations blocked the path. The aliens were taller, stronger, and more experienced. Most humans would have frozen. Leela took a deep breath. "We use their strength against them," she said. "Distract, confuse, and move. Follow me." The battle began. The alien team charged aggressively, expecting an easy victory. Leela's squad dodged, ducked, and weaved through attacks. Her small companion ran circles around the aliens' feet, tripping them and creating openings. Leela led her squad strategically, striking when the enemies overextended and retreating when necessary. The fight was chaotic. Holographic explosions, alarms, and shouting filled the arena. Other cadets watched in amazement as the human squad held its ground against superior opponents. Leela's calm and precise commands kept everyone coordinated. Every attack, every dodge, and every maneuver was calculated. Finally, the alien team faltered. Leela saw the opportunity and led her squad through the opening, rushing toward the central tower. The small companion darted ahead, scanning for traps. Leela reached the tower door and inserted the access module she carried. The door hissed open, revealing the glowing data core. She grabbed it, feeling a surge of triumph. The simulation ended immediately. The arena's lights dimmed and the sounds of alarms ceased. Tharok stepped forward, his massive frame silent and imposing. "Human," he said slowly, his voice echoing in the hall, "you have done what few cadets could achieve. You have led, strategized, and survived against overwhelming odds. You are impressive." Leela's squad cheered softly, her small companion chirping proudly on her shoulder. She smiled but did not boast. "We did it together," she said. "Strength is not enough. Strategy and cooperation matter more." Tharok's eyes studied her carefully. "Humans, they survive where others fail. They think beyond instinct. They adapt. I underestimated your species." Other cadets looked at her with newfound respect. Whispers of admiration replaced the earlier sneers. Leela felt a warmth in her chest. For the first time, she knew that she had changed their perception. Humans were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. As the cadets left the arena, Leela found a quiet corner to rest. She fed her companion and patted its soft fur gently. "We're getting stronger," she whispered. "But the next challenge will be harder. We have to stay sharp." Her companion chirped softly, rubbing against her hand. Leela smiled. She knew the journey ahead would test them in ways they could not yet imagine. But she also knew that as long as they stayed smart, brave, and united, nothing could stop them. The day ended with Tharok observing quietly from his office. He leaned back, arms crossed, and muttered to himself, "Perhaps humans are more dangerous than we thought. Not because they are strong, but because they do not fear failure. They do not rely on brute force. They survive because they think. Leela, unaware of his words, walked to her quarters with her squad. She felt exhausted but alive. Every challenge, every obstacle had taught her something new. She had faced aliens stronger and faster than herself and had survived. She had done it with her mind, her planning, and her companion's help. As she lay down that night, her companion curled beside her. Leela whispered softly, "Tomorrow will be harder, but we are ready. We will keep proving them wrong." And in the quiet of the space station, with stars shining beyond the windows, Leela Carter knew one thing clearly. Humans might not be apex predators in the galaxy, but they were clever, brave, and unpredictable. That was a power no alien could ever fully anticipate. The morning sun of the Orion Expanse Military Academy barely touched the hallways before Leela Carter was already awake. She could hear the distant hum of the station, the moving ships, and the steady rhythm of alien cadets walking to their training grounds. Today was different. Today was the Advanced Combat Trial, a test designed to push even the strongest cadets to their limits. Leela carried her small companion in its cage, though it chirped and wriggled, eager to be released. She smiled. "Patience," she whispered. "We'll be together soon." When she entered the training grounds, the other cadets were already gathered. Some looked confident, some nervous, but all knew this trial was harder than any drill they had faced before. The ground was uneven, rocky, and full of obstacles. Holographic traps flickered across the floor. Energy turrets rotated silently in the corners, scanning for movement. And hovering above, a massive holographic predator simulated a dangerous opponent with incredible speed and strength. Tharok's voice boomed across the hall. "Today's trial is not just about strength or skill. It is about survival. You will enter a hostile environment with limited resources. You will face unpredictable threats, both mechanical and organic. Only those who can think, adapt, and act together will succeed. Human, you will lead your team. Do not fail." Leela nodded silently. She opened the cage and her small companion jumped onto her shoulder. It chirped softly, ready as always. "We've got this," she whispered. The simulation began. A sudden burst of light revealed the first obstacle, a deep canyon with a narrow bridge swaying dangerously above simulated lava. Other cadets rushed forward recklessly. Many stumbled, their confidence failing them. Leela studied the bridge carefully. "Wait," she instructed her squad. "Observe the movement. Timing is everything." Her companion darted forward, hopping lightly across the bridge, testing its stability. When it landed safely, Leela led her squad across, step by step, never rushing, always precise. Once across, the next challenge appeared, a forest filled with mechanical predators. They moved fast, striking without warning. Leela could hear the hiss of metal claws and the hum of energy blades. Many cadets panicked and ran, only to be caught in traps or ambushed. Leela stayed calm. She whispered instructions to her squad, using small hand signals and subtle gestures. Her companion moved first, weaving between the predator's legs and confusing them. Leela followed, guiding her team strategically. They dodged, blocked, and struck with precision. Every move was calculated. The predators lunged at them, but the squad's teamwork and Leela's leadership kept them safe. Halfway through the forest, an unexpected obstacle appeared. A massive pit opened beneath the squad, and a rushing wave of simulated lava poured toward them. Panic struck some cadets, but Leela stayed calm. "Jump together," she commanded. Her companion leapt first, landing safely on the other side. One by one, the squad followed, coordinated and careful. Those who hesitated fell short and were eliminated from the simulation. Tharok observed silently from the balcony above. His eyes narrowed, not in anger but in interest. He had seen many cadets fail today, but Leela's team moved like a single organism, led by a human he had underestimated. The final phase of the trial was approaching, the confrontation with the apex predator. Holographic sensors detected their arrival at the predator's lair, a vast chamber filled with darkness, shifting terrain, and hidden traps. The predator itself appeared, larger than any cadet, with glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws. Its movements were unpredictable, and it adapted quickly to the team's actions. "Stay together," Leela instructed. "We move as one, don't let it separate us." Her companion darted ahead, scouting, leaping from rock to rock, and signaling safe paths with small chirps. The predator lunged suddenly, catching some cadets off guard. Leela moved quickly, blocking and redirecting attacks, keeping her team alive. Her companion jumped at the predator's legs, causing it to falter momentarily. That was all the opening Leela needed. She guided her team to strike together, focusing on weak points and avoiding direct confrontation. The predator roared in frustration, adapting its strategy. But Leela's mind was faster. She noticed the pattern in its movements, predicting its attacks before they came. Each member of her squad knew exactly what to do, following her commands without hesitation. Her companion darted in and out, a small but vital part of the strategy. Finally, the predator lunged one last time, overextending itself. Leela signaled, and her team moved in perfect coordination. The predator stumbled and fell, defeated not by brute force but by planning, observation, and timing. The simulation ended immediately. Lights flashed, alarms ceased, and the holographic predator vanished. Silence filled the training grounds. Leela's squad cheered quietly, proud but exhausted. They had completed a trial that most cadets had failed. Tharok stepped forward, his massive claws tapping on the floor. "Human," he said slowly, his voice deep and deliberate, "you have done what no other cadet has done. You faced danger, led your team, and adapted faster than anyone I have seen. You are impressive." Leela felt a surge of pride but kept her composure. "We survived because we worked together," she said. "Strength alone does not win battles. Thinking and coordination do." Tharok's eyes glowed brighter, as if he was seeing a truth he had never understood before. Perhaps humans are not weak. Perhaps they survive because they are clever, because they adapt, and because they never give up. The other cadets looked at her with awe. Some nodded, whispering to each other. Leela had changed their perception. Humans were not just fragile beings, they were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. After the trial, Leela found a quiet spot in the training hall. She fed her companion, who chirped happily and rubbed against her hand. "Good work today," she whispered. "But tomorrow will be harder. They will not let us go easy." She thought about Tharok's words. For the first time, she realized that she was not just surviving the academy, she was teaching the aliens a lesson. Humans were underestimated everywhere, and that was their greatest advantage. As night fell over the station, Leela lay in her quarters, her companion curled beside her. She felt exhaustion in her body, but a spark of excitement in her mind. Every obstacle she faced, every challenge she survived, strengthened her resolve. She had proven that humans could survive, adapt, and even lead in a world that seemed designed to crush them. Her companion chirped softly in its sleep, and Leela smiled. "We are just getting started," she whispered. "They think they know humans, but they have no idea." And in the quiet hum of the station, with stars shining beyond the windows, Leela Carter knew one thing clearly. Humans might not be the strongest species in the galaxy, but they were clever, brave, and unstoppable when they used their minds and hearts together. That was power no alien could ever fully understand. The day of the final assessment had arrived. Leela Carter stood at the Academy's central arena, the largest and most dangerous training ground in the Orion Expanse Military Academy. This trial was not just a test of skill or strategy. It was a full-scale combat simulation designed to see who could survive against multiple alien species, mechanical guardians, and unpredictable hazards. Success here meant recognition, respect, and a place among the Academy's elite. Failure was unthinkable. Leela adjusted the small cage on her shoulder, letting her companion peek out. Its bright amber eyes glowed with curiosity and excitement. "Are you ready?" she whispered. The creature chirped softly, rubbing against her hand as if to say, "Always." Leela smiled. Together they had faced danger, survived simulations, and proven themselves. This final challenge would test everything they had learned. The arena doors opened with a hiss, revealing a vast battlefield. Jagged cliffs jutted out from the ground, rivers of molten energy cut through the terrain, and dark clouds hung overhead. Mechanical drones hovered silently, scanning for movement, while holographic alien predators prowled the area. In the distance, other cadets were already engaged in battle. Leela's heart raced, but she focused. Calm and observation had always been her strength. Tharok's voice boomed across the arena. "This is the ultimate test. You will face multiple threats at once. Only those who can adapt, lead, and survive will succeed. Human, your actions today will determine whether your species deserves respect in this academy. Lead well and prove what humans are capable of." Leela nodded. She opened the cage fully, letting her small companion leap onto the ground. It ran ahead, sniffing the air, alert to every sound and movement. Leela watched carefully, noticing patterns in the mechanical drones and movements of the other cadets. She turned to her squad, all humans. "Stick together," she said. "Move smart. Use the environment. Don't fight blindly." The first wave of attacks came quickly. Mechanical drones fired energy pulses, and alien predators lunged from the shadows. Many cadets froze, overwhelmed by the chaos. Leela remained calm. Her companion darted forward, distracting one drone while Leela and her squad moved to higher ground. She observed the predator's patterns and calculated the safest path. "Now!" she shouted. The team moved together, ducking behind rocks, using shadows for cover and striking only when necessary. Her companion leapt onto the back of a small predator, tripping it and giving her squad a clear path forward. As they advanced, the environment became more dangerous. The ground cracked beneath their feet, and molten rivers blocked their path. Energy turrets rotated, ready to fire at anyone who stepped into their beams. Leela guided her squad carefully. "Watch the patterns," she instructed. "Time your steps, wait for the pause." Her companion chirped, running ahead to test the next safe path. Hours seemed to pass in what felt like minutes. The team faced ambushes, traps, and waves of enemies, yet they moved like a single organism, coordinated and precise. Leela's small companion was everywhere, fast and clever, helping them navigate danger and exploit openings. The final challenge loomed, the apex predator of the arena, larger and more terrifying than any they had faced before. Its scales shimmered, its eyes glowed red, and its claws scraped the rocky ground as it approached. Other cadets tried to face it head-on and were easily pushed back or eliminated from the simulation. Leela studied the predator carefully. She noticed its movements were strong but predictable in short bursts. She turned to her squad. "We do not fight it directly," she said. "We make it chase us, tire it out, and use its own strength against it. Follow my lead and stay calm." Her companion leapt forward, darting around the predator, drawing its attention. The creature roared and lunged at the small animal, underestimating it completely. Leela's squad moved as planned, dodging and weaving around attacks, staying in positions where the predator's size and strength worked against it. Step by step, they led the predator into a trap she had noticed in the terrain, a series of unstable rocks and energy traps. One wrong move and the predator would collapse into the deep chasm below. Leela whispered to her squad, guiding them carefully. "Patience! Wait for the right moment." The predator lunged again, faster and more furious than before. Leela's companion darted under its legs, causing it to stumble slightly. That small hesitation was all they needed. Leela signaled her squad. They moved together, pushing the predator toward the unstable terrain. One wrong step, and it fell, roaring as it collapsed into the chasm. Silence fell over the arena. The simulation ended, lights dimmed, and the hum of machinery quieted. Leela's squad cheered quietly, exhausted but triumphant. They had completed the ultimate trial, surviving waves of enemies, mechanical hazards, and an apex predator, all without losing coordination or calm. Tharok stepped forward, his massive frame towering over the cadets. His golden eyes focused on Leela. "Human," he said slowly, "you have done what no other cadet could. You have survived against superior strength, outsmarted multiple opponents, and led your team to victory. You are remarkable." Leela felt a surge of pride but stayed humble. "We survived because we worked together," she said. "Strategy, observation, and coordination matter more than raw strength. Humans may be underestimated, but we never give up." Tharok's expression softened slightly. "You have taught me something today," he said. "Humans are not weak. They survive because they think, adapt, and use everything at their disposal. Perhaps the galaxy has misjudged your species." Other cadets looked at Leela with awe. Whispers of admiration replaced the earlier doubt and mockery. She had proven that humans were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. Her companion chirped softly, nuzzling her hand, as if sharing in the victory. Later, in the observation deck, Tharok spoke quietly to other instructors. "She is small, fragile in appearance, yet she outperformed every cadet. Her species may not rely on brute force, but their minds and courage make them dangerous. I underestimated them, all of us did." Leela returned to her quarters with her squad, exhausted but elated. They had survived the ultimate test, and she had proven something far greater. Humans could adapt, survive, and lead where others would fail. That night, as she lay down, her small companion curled beside her, Leela thought about everything that had happened. She had faced stronger opponents, unpredictable hazards, and even apex predators, yet she had survived. She had relied on intelligence, observation, and her small but clever companion. She realized that humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because their true strength was something no one could anticipate: courage, ingenuity, and the will to survive against all odds. She whispered softly to her companion, "We did it. We've shown them what humans can do, but this is just the beginning. They will never underestimate us again." The small creature chirped, rubbing against her hand, and Leela smiled. She knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she was ready. She had proven that humans were more than what they appeared to be. In the quiet of the station, with stars shining beyond the windows, Leela Carter understood one truth clearly: strength alone does not define a species. Intelligence, courage, teamwork, and the willingness to face the impossible, that was power. And humans, underestimated for centuries, had all of it. By the end of the week, word of Leela's victory spread through the academy. Aliens whispered her name with a mix of awe and respect. Tharok, once skeptical and harsh, now looked at her with a hint of admiration. Leela had not only survived the academy, she had changed how the aliens viewed humans forever. As she walked through the halls, her companion perched on her shoulder. Other cadets gave her nods of respect. Some came forward, offering congratulations. Leela nodded politely, smiling but humble. "Thank you," she said. "Remember, it's not about being the strongest. It's about thinking, adapting, and working together." Even Tharok approached her, his golden eyes studying her closely. "You have proven humans are more than we imagined," he said. "Your courage, intelligence, and leadership have earned you respect. Perhaps we can all learn from your species." Leela nodded, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. She had faced every challenge, survived every danger, and emerged stronger than anyone expected. She had rewritten the assumptions of an entire academy. As she returned to her quarters, the small companion chirped happily and rubbed against her hand. Leela laughed softly. "We've done well," she said, "but there is still so much more to show them." And in that moment, Leela Carter knew one thing with certainty. Humans might never be the biggest or the strongest in the galaxy, but with courage, intelligence, and heart, they could outsmart, outlast, and outshine anyone who underestimated them. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries. Leela had proven why that was a mistake, and she was only getting started.